If not, we will, they can join us on this link and go from there. I am here to share the 5 parts of the perfect running warm up. You are in the right place. If you have laced up your shoes and headed out on a run, and you do not warm up at least 25% of the time. So you are heading out the door and just taking off, then you're in the right spot. If you want to be good at running, but it seems like you always feel really sluggish. If you are always feeling really sluggish, then that is a good indicator that something's kind of going on. Your body's not meshing well. So that could be a huge component. If you like to run, but it seems like you are always getting hurt. If you have not had a functional movement screen or a movement assessment, you're in the right place because we're going to talk about all the things. How valuable would it be today for you to really learn what to stretch, how to stretch it, and also how to actually run faster by doing those things? That would be huge, probably, for most of us. All right. How well do you warm up before you run? 0 to 5, guys. 0 to 5, I want you to put how well you feel like you warm up before you run. A 0 is absolutely don't do anything. A 5 is I spend at least 15 to 20 minutes priming every part of my system. 0 to 5, guys, in the comments, just put where you're at. Okay, it looks like we're getting some good stuff going through, some 2s, some 3s happening on Facebook and Instagram, going through there. All right, now looking through, where are you guys at on the scale of runners? Because I really want to make sure that I target the audiences with us today. So where are you at in the big scale? A, I'm a total newbie, but I want to be a runner. B, I would call myself more of a walk jogger. C, I love to run. I do several races a year. Or D, I train 5+ days a week. Maybe you have a coach. You definitely have a set training plan and you attempt to PR several races a year. A, B, C, or D? Where are all my newbies? Where are all my experts? Where are those people that say that they're walk joggers? But I know that you are more than that, I promise. Let's go through. Let's take a quick look here. Awesome. Okay, so we've got a lot of walk joggers, some newbies, and then several people that are kind of expert runners. I'm a C. I love to run. I do several races a year. Like I said, I got into triathlon about 4 years ago. No, probably more than that. Oh my gosh, time just flies. Probably 7 years ago now. And then I got into CrossFit about 3 years ago. So I put this picture of the rowing machine because anyone that is a runner knows that the rowing machine is the devil. I would rather run every single day than to have to get onto that machine. God love it. All right. So I'm a C. I love to run. I think it's great. But I also love how good I feel when I hit that runner's high. When I really am able to go through and hit that runner's high because I've warmed up properly, that is a game changer. The parts that we are going to dive into today are the feet and the calves and shins, really what that looks like, the knees, the glutes and core, and then the neck and head. Those are the parts that we're going to be talking about today. And we are going to go through each individual part, but then we're also going to break down at the end what a total warm-up looks like. I'll actually step back. That's why I have the wall so far behind me today, so that you guys can actually see the full breakdown of the warm-up. So stick around until the end for sure. So the first part is the feet. Pronation, supination, neutral. How many people have heard of all of these things? So all these different, I'm an overpronator, I'm an oversupinator, I land and I do this, I have to wear neutral shoes, I I do barefoot running. There's all these different ideas. So the first thing that I really want to talk about is a really cool phenomenon. If you guys have not followed the Foot Collective, that might be something really great to start. They actually have a really cool app too. But what I want you guys to do, whether you're sitting down, whether you're standing up, whatever you're doing, I want you just feet flat on the floor, and I want you to squeeze your butt. And I just want you to squeeze your butt 5 times. Yep, we're all gonna squeeze our butts together. This is gonna be so fun. Okay, that's probably about 5. Now what I want you to do is I want you to squeeze your butt and look down at what happens to your feet. Do you guys see how you kind of get a little bit of an arch and your feet actually move? So what I want to say about this is that so many people have been focused on changing shoes, building up shoes, getting all these orthotics, da 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 da, when really what we need to do is we need to train our feet to work harder, not protect them more. We need to train them to work harder, and we need to use our hips and our butt the way that it was meant to be. So those are the biggest things that you guys are going to see from me. As far as shoes, I tell people have 2 to 3 pairs of shoes. They should be different brands, and they should have different like tendencies to them. So some should be like a neutral shoe. You might want a trail running shoe that's more built up. You might want like a Hoka, something that's really cushiony. And I want you to change all the time. Don't wear the same shoe because you're going to get the same type of resistance for each one. So you're gonna, like, if you have a big drop, so your bulk of the back of the shoe is really built up, and you run in that all the time, your calves are gonna get tight. You're gonna end up with plantar fasciitis and all these different things. So this goes to the presentations that we already had last week. So those of you guys that were there, you guys know this, but A is we need to mobilize and stretch it, and B is we need to stabilize it. So looking at the feet, A or B on the toes, do we need to mobilize and stretch the toes, or do we need to stabilize them? What about the feet, the arch? Do we need to mobilize and stretch it, or do we need to stabilize it? And then what about the ankles? Mobilize and stretch it, or stabilize it? So choose those kind of thinking through them, guys, as we go. You guys can put your answers in the comment section. So do we want to stretch the toes? Do we want to stretch the ankles? Do we want to stretch the feet? What do we want to do, or do we want to stabilize? As you guys are going through. We're getting some answers. I hope you guys are right. If not, you should have tuned in last week. Awesome. Okay. So actually what we want to do is that we want to stretch the toes, stabilize the foot, and then stretch the ankles. So the very first part of our warm-up is going to be half kneeling dorsiflexion. So I'm going to pull up our very first video to show you guys what we're going to do, how to mobilize the ankle while stabilizing the feet. This is our very first exercise here. So we're going to go through. Let's pull this guy up. Okay, here we are. So all we're doing here is driving, keeping heel down on the ground, driving over our third toe and pushing that knee in different directions. If you want to add the kettlebell for extra weight here, you can. So that's all that we're looking at, is just driving over that toe. As you guys are doing this, you also can push your foot down into the ground and try to lift your big toe. Try to lift all your other toes. Lift your big toe. Lift all your other toes, and try to do those separately as you're going through and stretching. Those of you guys that tuned in before, you know, but you should be able to have your knee touch the wall in front of you. If you were like doing this in front of a wall, you should be 4 to 5 inches back in order for that to be normal. So that is our first stretch going through, and that is working on stabilizing the feet, mobilizing the toes, so we're moving them up and down, and then we're mobilizing the ankle. The next part is the calves and the shins. This is really where we're gaining our power and also our deceleration. So our power is coming from our calves. As we push off, our calves contract, and that's really what gives us that forward momentum that we're looking for. But our toe should come up, and you should feel that activate on the front part of your shin. When that front part of the shin activates properly, when your foot lands and you hit in your midfoot, forefoot, or again, whole nother thing that we could dive crazy into. But whenever you land, that's what decelerates you. So again, those of you guys that have had shin splints, it's typically because your power, so your calf, and your deceleration, your shin muscle in the front, aren't matching up, or there's something wrong with your landing mechanics. So this next exercise is a really good way to start working through what does that look like? How can we improve that deceleration and improve our power momentum as well? So going through, so we're going to share, oh, I want to share this one this time. We're going to go through and look at this really simple exercise. You guys can do this off of a stair or something along those lines. So notice that she's dropping all the way down, getting a really big stretch on her calves, and then powering back up. You can also do this single footed, and that is even better for running, especially if you can keep your other leg up into this like nice high knee to chest position while you do it. You will gain awesome momentum there. The other thing that you guys can do is flip. Put your heels on the stair, allow those toes to point down, and then ting, back up. Point them down, ting, back up. That's a great way to train that dorsiflexion or that deceleration that we're looking for, where you can lift your toe up. Only thing with that is don't let your butt rock back in order to get your feet up. So you should stay up nice and tall, and all the action should just be happening in that ankle joint. So do you guys remember what is next? So we've done toes, we've done feet, we stabilized our feet, we've worked on our ankle. Now we're up into the shin and calves. We created our power system, our momentum system. Now we're up into the knee. So, okay, next question. Do you guys think we need to stabilize and stretch our knees, or do we need, or mobilize and stretch our knees, or do we need to stabilize our knees? A or B? Which one do you guys think? Our knees to be stretched or our knees to be stabilized? And you guys can go back, actually, you will see the stretch and stability. The whole thing is going to be up on YouTube. It actually goes live tomorrow. So everything that we did, it'll just stay live for the week for you guys, and also allow you guys to reconsume that knowledge. So A or B, do we want to stretch our knees or do we want to stabilize our knees? So taking a look here, let's see what answers we've got going on so far. Awesome. You guys are crushing it. Okay. B, stabilize. We want to stabilize our knees. So Whitney chiming in, and she was on the last one. Whenever you guys go, this is balance part number 1. So we've looked at the feet. Now we've kind of added another joint. So now our bodies have to balance and stabilize. Looking here, so when you guys are knock-kneed, so you guys can see from the first where the red circles are, people's knees are coming together. You guys can probably see this on squatting mechanics. You can see them on running mechanics. A lot of times you'll see the knees come together and the legs kind of whip around. When you guys see that, that is an unstable knee. You're actually stretching out the ligaments on the inside, which can be very detrimental over time to meniscus, cartilage, how your kneecap tracks, all of those things. So you can see here on the other side, there's still some things in this picture that I don't love, but just looking at the knee, now he's driving more forward. So what we want to do is we want to create that stability component. We really want to know what is the knee doing? Is it stable whenever it lands? one of the biggest things, you guys can join the Mobility Athletes Facebook group. Please go and do that if you haven't yet. There's tons of stuff that I put in there on a regular basis, but also we do free video analysis in there. So you guys can post any video that you want, especially right now while we're stuck inside. If you guys have a treadmill, video yourself running from the back and from the side, and I will go in and I will analyze that for you so that you know exactly what parts of this you need to work on and focus on more. Which, I mean, like, guys, that's like 100. We used to charge 150 up to $500 depending on what all we did in our analysis for that, and we're doing it for free in the Facebook group. So go join it, do it, it's awesome. But going through, we need to stabilize those knees. So that leads us to our next exercise. And our next exercise is actually a Romanian deadlift, which is just a one-legged deadlift with this band pulling across your knee. It is going to pull your knee in. We always want to over exaggerate the deficit that we don't want. Notice that my shoulder and my ankle bone stay in the same alignment and that my toe stays pointed straight down at the ground the whole time. You don't want your hip opening up. You don't want your shoulder and chest opening up. And this knee is fighting and stabilizing. So I could actually feel that in my butt, but my foot isn't rotating on me. So that is your next exercise that we're going to go through. And don't worry, we're going to go through at the end of all of this, and I'm going to show you exactly what you can do whenever you want to hit the road, even without equipment. Next part is the booty and the abs. Most people, let's be honest, most people start running because they want a butt and they want a flat stomach. And they think that running's going to be little cardio bunnies is going to be the best way to get there. First of all, it's not. We need to do some major strength training. Second of all, running 5 to 6 days a week, I am not a huge proponent for if you are not cross-training in other ways and doing some serious strength exercises. But again, another soapbox for another day. But I would love to talk about that more over in the Mobility Athletes Facebook group if you guys have questions for that. So looking here, what happens when you're running and you actually don't have good glute activation? So you guys can see here, the pelvis will get just a little bit out of alignment, but when you land, the side that you land on should get just a slight dip. If it's actually the opposite side that's dipping down, so your pelvis actually goes the other way because your weight is almost shifting off of that side because that glute actually isn't working, that's what we call abnormal. So it's called a Trendelenburg type gait. But also if we get too much up and down or too much of this pelvic change, which we can measure angles on that in a video analysis, then we know that we are in trouble. So now we've got to think, hips, do we want to stabilize or do we want to stretch and mobilize those? What about your low back? Do we want to mobilize or do we want to stabilize your low back? And then let's talk about our mid back with this too. So do we want to stretch or do we want to stabilize our mid back? Looking forward to that. So answer for hips, low back, mid back, A, B, or for all of those. So give me a little bit of a rundown as we go through this. Please keep commenting. So going through and really thinking about what that means. And when we don't have good stability in our lower back, then we can have a lot of issues in our hips. Also, if our hips don't have enough range of motion to move through and land with proper mechanics, we run into a lot of issues. So that can be a big difference. Ooh, people be crushing it. All right. Yes. Hips, we want to stretch. Low back, we want to stabilize. Mid back, we want to stretch. You guys are doing so good. Now we're on a roll. All right. When we look at that, this is the exercise that I see every runner doing, and I absolutely hate it. So standing on one leg and they like pendulum kick their legs. Have you guys all seen those people? And then they pendulum kick them back and forward and back and forward. And literally their low back's like this. And they're standing on their leg and their knees in and out, in and out, in and out on the other leg. that is not creating that good stability with mobility that we want. So I actually prefer the Cossack squats, and then I want to go through this wall drill for stability. So the side to side motion and opening is so important, especially for activation of your butt. So I love that for the Cossack squat. So the side to side pendulum, trade that out for the Cossack squat. And then the forward backward one, let's trade that out for some momentum in a wall drill. So let's take a look at these two exercises. And I actually picked two experts to showcase here so that you guys can see those. On It is amazing. So you guys can see how he goes through this very deep full Cossack squat. So let me just show you guys the videos there. Notice he has a nice wide stance. Leg comes up and he's sitting down with that chest still up, and he's really sitting down deep into that pocket. That's that Cossack squat. So you guys can see, look how it's opening up the groin on the leg that's out here. Look how it's stabilizing the foot and opening that hip up on the leg that's stable, as well as keeping his low back and chest up as he's moving through that. This next one is the wall drill. First of all, I want to comment on the setup. Notice that his back is pushed through the wall. So he's activating. His back actually is rounded here, but it's just because he's pushing through and activating lats, serratus, all these rib muscles in order to stabilize shoulder blades and low back, which is exactly what we want as we create this momentum through. Notice as he was hitting, nothing was moving. You guys can mainly just see his feet, but nothing was moving up here in his upper body. So he's hitting nice and quick. The goal is to kind of make this figure four. So he could probably bring his knees up just a smidge more. I think that this is more of a soccer player, but notice that his foot is up back here, that his calf is spring loaded, and we're creating this nice, good line. That is what we want in this wall drill. Now think about how that goes straight over then into a great warm up and mechanics and creating power. Even long distance runners, you guys want power. You want the submaximal power created over and over and over again. So those are my favorite ones there. That brings us to the last part, kind of the neck and head. I notice a lot of people that have their shoulders up here, they're kind of rounded, they're quasimodoing, or they've got them kind of pulled back and arched. And then they're almost like momentum's going backwards, but I'm still trying to run forwards. And you guys can see both of those here. You can really see what that momentum looks like. So belly is kind of pooched out in both of them, but on the front one, that tailbone is really tucked underneath, making those knees bend forward, putting a lot of strain on the front of the ankles. Sometimes you guys will see this in somebody that has really, really flexible ankles, but they don't have good stability in their low back and core. Here we see somebody that probably maybe their ankles aren't very stable. And then also they just have this very weakness in their posterior chain. So they're just kind of saggy. These are our desk workers. This is me, those people that notoriously just have poor range of motion. So now we need to think about here. We already talked about the mid back. We want to mobilize the mid back. I gave you guys a hint on the shoulder blades. Do we want to stabilize or stretch your shoulder blades? And then what about your lower neck? So where this girl has this arch, where this guy kind of has this protrusion, where do you guys want to be there? Do we want to stretch, which is A, or do we want to stabilize, which is B? Going through here, thinking about that. This last part is my favorite part of the warm up, and it's the part that will make you look the craziest, but it is crawling. So when you guys go through and you guys are talking about different types of exercises, crawling is one of the best things that runners can do. Oh, sorry, I stopped sharing. One of the best things that runners can do, and they hate it. Nobody does it. And so the reason I love crawling is because running is this opposite sided activity. So when your left arm comes forward, your right leg comes forward and it switches. And here's the amazing, amazing, amazing thing that we have learned about crawling and running and walking is that it is stored in the spinal cord. And so when it is stored in the spinal cord, what that means is that it actually is a reflex. So, you know, whenever you go to the doctor and they hit you on the knee and it kicks out, and that's a reflex, that's exactly what running and walking are. So, you guys need that opposite arm action in order to feel fluid. And so many people fight that, which is why you never feel good while you're running. It's why you never can like click over to this I'm a runner or this fluid feeling, is because you struggle to even move opposites. Because almost everything we do, we type like this, everything we sit with both of our feet on the ground, everything we do doesn't require this rotational and this opposite activation. So that's why I love crawling. Here you guys can see three-way crawling really quickly. Moving to the side. So notice moving side to side, which you guys didn't get to see that one, but moving side to side and then moving forward and backward. And notice that I'm pushing through the floor, creating that same dynamic that you guys saw on the wall drills. So we want to make sure that we're really creating this nice, good, stable form in order for our legs to generate that power through those calves, that deceleration that we talked about. And all of our warm-ups are going to go to that. That is what is so important in creating this really good dynamic warm-up. This is great. Even if you're a CrossFitter and you're here, I love you. I appreciate you. I know how much you hate running. This is a great thing to start incorporating even in that aspect, even if it's just a couple of 400s. But also for those people that are doing 5Ks, half marathons, triathlon training, this almost gets in a little bit of a strength sequence, as well as really going through and getting this good understanding of what everything looks like paired together. So looking here and kind of breaking all of this down, now we want to know, like, this is the biggest part that I've noticed that my clients get the biggest revelations, is we can talk about each of those pieces and parts, but until I put it together for you and you see how it can just take a few minutes of time, it is very, very frustrating to try to figure that out. And you guys will walk away and you won't do anything that I told you, or you'll do one thing. So what I want to do is I want to go through absolutely no equipment. I'm going to show you guys on the back wall here, really what's going on and how you guys can incorporate this simply with just a wall and then head out on your run. So we are going to go through all of that. Please feel free, like, set up your computers where you guys can hear me and we can go through this, but go through this because as some people learn just listening, some people learn from facts and stuff like that, but some people learn by moving and doing. I'm a mover and a doer. So I definitely want you guys to partake in that so that I can see and know exactly what's going on. So I'm going to open up my screen here so that you guys can see exactly what is going on. I'm going to make sure that you guys can see the floor. We're going to have some fun. I'm also going to undo my headphones so you guys can actually hear me talk. All right, we're going to go through this whole thing together. So let me move my little chair underneath. And here we go, kids. All right, so do you guys remember which one we're going to start with? We are going to start with the ankle. So come down into that half kneeling position. Okay, important. I want you guys, you're in your half kneeling position. Now squeeze your butt. It's going to stretch out the front of this leg. Foot should be flat on the ground. You're going to drive your knee over that third toe while your butt stays squeezed. Come back, drive over the top. Let's go 10 in each position. 3, keep your butt squeezed so you can stretch that hip flexor while we're working. Let's kill multiple birds with one stone. For those of you guys that can't see what I'm doing from the side, butt is squeezed. That tilts that pelvis. Stay squeezed. I'm just coming over the top. If you want to stay here and you want to try to lift your big toe and then switch and lift your pinky toes and then lift your big toe. I know it's kind of hard to see with my fun socks on. All right, let's go ahead and switch sides. Squeeze that butt and then drive over that second toe. So butt stays squeezed, driving over the top. Let's go for 10. Working through there, guys. From the front, you guys can switch those toes around if you can. That's really hard. We do a lot of training on that in our one-on-one program. So if you guys need some help doing that, I am still working through that. Okay, next thing that you guys are gonna do, we don't have any equipment. I'm gonna pretend like we don't have a stair. So what we're gonna do is both feet together. You guys can use something for balance if you need to. I'm gonna use my little bookshelf here. You're gonna come all the way up. Switch your leg, lower down. All the way up, switch your leg, lower down. Make sure that your other leg stays up until your foot is completely back down on the ground. So we're just training that power, boom, and then that slow lower, power, slow lower. Good. Let's go 2 more on each side. Nice work. Okay, next thing that we got to do though is we got to get those decelerators. So what we're going to do is lift both up and back down, both up and back down. And notice that I'm trying not to rock my butt back. So don't do one of these. That's not going to get you where you want to go. So here, lift them up. We're just using that range of motion that we just got. You guys can also do this in that half kneeling position. Okay. We have the valgus pull RDL, the one with the band. So what you guys are going to do, we don't have a band. You're going to come to your wall. You're going to lift your leg up, toe up, your knees pressing into the wall, and you're holding. My butt is squeezed. I'm up tall, and my knee is pushing into this wall here, guys. And then relax. And then let's go again. Usually 3 sets of about 10 seconds is perfect there. Go ahead and switch. My arm comes across my body so that my shoulder can be right against the wall. Come up, nice high march. Push in, butt squeezed. That butt squeeze is important. I know we keep talking about it. Push into that wall. Nice job. All right, the next one that we have is that Cossack squat. So we're gonna come out very, very, very wide with our feet, and then try to keep your feet somewhat facing forward on the leg that you're squatting down on. The other leg is gonna turn, toes gonna point up to the ceiling. So you're gonna sit down into that squat and then switch. My left hip's a little bit tighter than my right. Work through that. Let's get 5. So I think we got 1 more to each side. Try to drive those heels down. Good. Then we're going to run through our wall drill and crawling, and we're done. So wall drill. I'll have to face my booty towards you guys, but just remember, push through that wall, and we're going to do, whenever I call switch, we're going to go boom, boom, back to our original leg. So what that means is that we're going to be here. Nice, good stretch. Foot's up, pushed against the wall. When I call switch, boom, boom. Okay, nice and quick. And we're gonna go. We're gonna do 3 on each side. Left foot up, and switch, and switch, and switch. Good, go ahead and switch. Right foot up, and switch, and switch, and switch. Nice job. Last is crawling. So I don't have a lot of room to crawl here. So if you guys don't have a lot of room to crawl, or you don't want to just crawl around your neighborhood and look like a total crazy person, you guys can do what I'm going to show here. So come into that crawling position. So feet are tucked under, toes are tucked under, hands are squeezed into the floor. You're going to lift up, and then you can just move and then switch. I still think crawling is better than this, but this does get the job done. Go through that. Awesome job, guys. Way to stick with that. I just like you guys to see. So that took us a total of 6 minutes. Like in 6 minutes, we just got all that done. I'm kind of sweating. But you guys can see that that flow can be really easy, and it can actually get the parts of your body activating that need to in order to have a great run and in order to not be injured anymore. So many people, and you guys can write in the comments, I would love to know how many of you guys have suffered from an injury with running, or you feel like the more I run, my body just gets torn up. A lot of times it's because you're not doing the things that you need to do in a warm up. Kind of ending, guys, we are starting a 5-day challenge. It's 15 minutes to improve your squat. And what we mean by that is all the things that you see in your videos or that your coach is telling you or that other people are telling you. So knees caving in, chest falling over, not getting to depth, your ankles being too tight, all of those things, them just like hurting like crazy. All of those things, then we are going to do. So 15 minutes for 5 days to add at least 5 pounds of weight to your squat and massively improve your mechanics. So if you guys want to join us, I think it's so important, whether it's for anybody that's in a lifting sport, anyone that's a runner, anyone that's new to fitness, that squat is so foundational and people just, they get it messed up a lot. So that will be starting on April 20th. Please join the Mobility Athletes Facebook group. Those of you guys that have been on, oh my gosh, I've just had so much fun with all of your interaction. And so please go videotape yourself running or have someone else video it for you and post that in the Mobility Athletes Facebook group. I would love to do some running analysis. Running is my favorite thing. I will post the sign up link in the comments, also on our Instagram page at Mobility Athletes and in the group. So I will post that. But so looking at the challenge here, I'll get that pulled up for you guys too. Oops. There we go. So this is the page for the challenge. So it's a long name right now. We are actually in the process of getting our other name figured out, but you guys can click and start. It starts in 4 hours or 4 days, 23 hours. You guys can see what the whole rundown of the framework is, what the days are going to break up into. And so those of you guys that really want to dive into and figure out how to just move better and feel better, you guys can see and register for this. So I'm going to post it in the comment section, in the chat box here with all of my people that are on live on the Zoom call, and then I will get that in all the groups, also on the YouTube, and those things that from you guys that are offering things as well. So please join us for the 5-day challenge. Also, super fun. But if you guys go and sign up for the 5-day challenge right now, and you guys can screenshot it whenever you guys sign up and tag us on Facebook or Instagram that you signed up for the 5-day challenge, then I will send you one of these awesome, here, I'm going to stop sharing. Well, you guys can see them, but these are refocus bands. We just got brand new ones in and we have 2 of them. So one is I am an athlete and one says today my best is enough. These are our 2 philosophies here in mobility. So you wear them on your wrist. Now I have a whole lot of them, but what you do is that you have 60,000 thoughts a day and 80% of those are negative. So being able to snap this bracelet or just simply flip it over and repeat the mantra, I am an athlete. Remind yourself of that while you're working out. Remind yourself of that whenever you're eating nutrition wise. Remind that self that whenever you're being hard on yourself and your mindset isn't good. And then also the other one, today my best is enough. And obviously if you are giving your best, then that is enough. And it doesn't have to be what you did yesterday. And it doesn't have to be what Sally's doing down the street. If you're giving your best, then that's enough. So if you guys sign up for the 5-day challenge, screenshot it, post it on Instagram or Facebook and tag us, and I will get your address and I will mail you one of these. They're awesome. I'm obsessed with them, obviously. So I would love to give those to you. All right, guys. Questions, comments, gripes, or groans? I don't know. I think I need an E on this. I'm pretty sure that says grips. And I just noticed that. I'm going to look through the chat boxes here as we're going. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Whitney, me too. I've been running on the gravel roads and my legs have been so sore. So going through and even doing this, what we just did as a cool down, will also reset your body. And then there's some other really great things. And anybody that wants some of the video links or anything like that, please send us an email. It's Nicole at Mobility Athletes, or post it in the Mobility Athletes private Facebook group. And I would be more than happy to give you guys the link so that you can actually go back and break down exactly how to do these movements. You are so welcome. I am like, thank you for coming and joining in. We had such a great group tonight. And don't forget, I do this every Wednesday and Saturday, different topics. If you guys have suggestions for topics that you would like to do, please let me know. Again, Mobility Athletes Facebook group is the best place to do that. I would love to see what else you guys want to learn more about. But I just appreciate all of your time and your energy. I love it. I love offering what little bit of knowledge I have. And I hope to see all of you in the 5-day challenge. I'll talk to you all soon. If you guys have any injury questions, please don't hesitate to let me know, and shoot me a message if you need anything. All right. Talk to you soon.